The other major right that people have is the right to a hearing. They are entitled to make the government prove their case before an immigration judge. Now, a lot of the immigration judges are no great shakes, and I should point out that the immigration authorities are making it increasingly difficult for people to assert their right to a hearing. What they're doing now when they lock people up is say, here, sign this piece of paper, we'll let you go. Of course, we'll let you go back when you're back in your home country, but we'll let you go. Or they're saying, well, okay, you can have a hearing, but you're going to stay in stir for as long as it takes to hear your case, which can be months. So they're making it hard to stay and fight. They're making it easy to just sign their rights away and accept the deportation. And this even though many people may have some form of relief to the deportation. They may qualify for political asylum. They may qualify for cancellation. They may qualify for a green card based on a family relationship. They may qualify for all sorts of other relief. They just might not know it if they don't talk to an immigration lawyer. So that's why it's so important to be acquainted with the immigration bar in your home communities. One other thing I should point out, which is unfortunately becoming an increasingly common issue, is what about the family members and what about the property that's left behind? So say the family breadwinner is picked up in a workplace raid. Not an uncommon experience, unfortunately. The rules are going to vary from state to state, but what we've been advising people is to be prepared for this, and in particular to be prepared with a power of attorney. A lot of people are leaving behind bank accounts. They're leaving behind houses. And unfortunately, if they're being detained or if they've been deported, they are not going to be able to personally handle the disposition of that property. So if there's some way of arranging a joint ownership with someone who's going to remain here, or some other way to set up a power of attorney enabling a remaining family member or friend or acquaintance to handle such property dispositions, that need is going to be increasingly common, we're afraid. So it's looking though that the Department of Homeland Security is reviewing its enforcement policies. The Secretary Napolitano had a major embarrassment 2 months ago when some ICE agents raided a factory in Bellingham, Washington, without her knowing about it. So she launched this agency review of policies. So things may be changing, and of course, if immigration reform passes, many of the people who are now vulnerable will be on their way to getting green cards. So let's keep our fingers crossed that these changes go into effect, and these people will no longer be so vulnerable. So that's all I had to say, and I think we're done early, so we're done in plenty of time. So I want to throw things open to any additional questions that you all may have. Okay, the question was, if I had a magic wand and could rewrite the immigration laws on my own, what would I do? Okay. Let me preface what I'm going to say by saying that immigration as a sociological phenomenon is largely driven by labor markets, and so as a result of that, even though a lot of people want to come to the United States, not everybody will, so if things are going well in people's home countries, if there's work, if the economies are doing well, they're not going to want to leave, for the most part. there's still going to be, family relationships and other circumstances that will draw people to the United States. But it's largely an economically driven phenomenon. If immigration caps can be eased somewhat to enable the people who are coming in based on family or work reasons can be eased somewhat. But if that could also be tied to really constructive development assistance in home countries, that, in my opinion, and I'm speaking personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of my organization or anybody else, would probably be the wisest path to address migration policies. One other thing I should point out is that, right now, of course, the common image of immigrant is someone coming from, a poor person coming up from Mexico. The immigration plays out. Back 100 years ago, Italy was a major sending country to the United States. It's not anymore. In fact, Italy is trying to recruit immigrants to come, to sustain the aging population there. More recently, South Korea was a major sending country 10, 20 years ago. There was a lot of political turmoil going on. It was also going through a major industrialization process. There are still Koreans coming in, but not so much anymore. That's also played out. Immigration from Mexico is also going to play out. Birth rates are plummeting, in large part because many of the men are already here, but they're plummeting. Also, the economy, as precarious as it is getting somewhat better. So, immigration from Mexico will eventually play out as well. It may take a while. It may take 10, 20 years, but it'll happen, within my lifetime. So, should I live so long? So, we go through these waves of stereotyping and resentment and anger over whatever new wave of immigrants comes in. We always survive. The question was, what about smaller communities that aren't so lawyer rich, in so many words? Well, okay, most communities will have churches or other networks of social service providers. I know, some communities may be better off than others. So at very least, those institutions, those organizations can take some role in, at very least, informing the community. I know the Catholic Church in particular has been very active in doing Know Your Rights presentations in communities. Well, for those of you who are not from Illinois, there's a community called Waukegan that's about 45 miles north of here, with a very active Catholic Church that has been doing regular Know Your Rights presentations. Other churches may also step into the gap here. And other social service agencies may provide that. Most areas of the country are also served by Legal Service Corporation funded legal service agencies. Now, understanding that LSC restrictions bar these agencies from representing undocumented immigrants unless they have some really close relationship to a U.S. citizen. Many of these organizations may be able to get specific funding to provide such representation, or may at least be able to assist those who have family ties. The Legal Assistance Foundation of Metropolitan Chicago is in just this situation. They cannot help, they ordinarily cannot help undocumented people, but their qualification rule is if someone is married to a U.S. citizen or has children who are U.S. citizens, then they can step in.